Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors Podcast, your trusted source for outdoor information and entertainment. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show and conservation advocate aimed at bringing millennials and Generation Z into the outdoors. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors.
On the last time.
We were.
Hello and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors Podcast. I like how the first sentences are.
We were wrong for sure.
Yeah. I am Kyle.
I'm Jeff.
I'm AJ.
I'm Ryan.
It'd be really funny if that didn't actually go through and everyone's like, what are they talking about? They're just weird.
Nuts.
You know what it is? We're all just buddies. So when we, we were just
chit-chat. Oh, we're starting.
Now everyone gets to hear our chit-chatting.
At what point do you guys think that we should stop saying our names at the beginning? Because
when everyone knows when we're a household name,
we're not there.
That's when I'll stop.
Yeah, so
we're not there.
Maybe next lifetime. I don't know.
Ryan, I can tell you've got a cold.
Households.
Yeah. Whatever I've had this last week.
Well,
I never get sick.
There should be a name for it because it's going.
I think I acquired it from the flight back from South Dakota, and it's just been
no, because I had it. Here's I'm the problem because here's what happened.
Of course you are.
I got it just like I always get it first, and then you guys get it
first. You always get the
You spread it.
It's because I fart on all your pillowcases when you guys aren't home,
Nice.
so that's what gets it. That's why you got pink eye that one time.
I've actually never had pink eye.
Same.
So
You're gonna have a purple eye if you call me a liar again. No, just kidding.
Are you threatening me?
On live air. So anyhow, I had it, and then I did what you're really not supposed to do.
He spit on his friends.
No, I took antibiotics and it made it go away. But instead of taking the full dose of the antibiotics, I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll save some.
You're making super AIDS, aren't you?
Yep.
I was like, I'll save them. To be clear, I don't have any kind of AIDS.
For everybody
You can't
listening,
wait to disregard the doctor's.
I know.
You know,
So I was like, I'll save some
treatment.
When you are take an antibiotic, if you take less than the full course, you aren't killing all of the bacteria. You're killing the majority of them, and you might not be sick anymore. But the ones that you're not killing are the ones that then become more resistant to antibacterials or anti-whatever.
And then you spread that to other people.
Nope, I'm saving them.
I forgot Dr. B came before your name.
I'm saving them.
Why would you forget that? I had to work very hard for that.
I forgot it.
Jeffrey got a 30 on his ACT without studying.
I didn't take the ACT.
That means you're a doctor.
I know, that's why I hired
They didn't
you.
have to.
You're too busy learning
The
shit.
funny thing is 30 is okay, but it's not that
Shut
great.
up, Jeff.
It's good for someone that
okay.
didn't
Average
study
is like
at all.
20.
No,
It's
but
like your one claim to fame. You better own
But
it.
it's only, but it's
He has
only because
nothing else going
we
for him.
came
Look at him, his hairline.
We came from a graduating class of 120 people. It's a small sample size.
You're
What
right
does
about
that have to do with your
Could've done
ACT
better.
score?
That's still not national average.
It's got to be 20.
I got second best in the class,
Let's
but
see.
for no reason. Like there should have been.
Yeah, but
people
you just
Disregard
but
the class.
the people
the
that
score alone.
the people in the top 20 killed themselves studying.
Yep,
you and
that's
I
true.
went golfing and you didn't study at all. This is like
That's
the
true.
one good
What'd
thing
you
you
get?
have going for you. I had a 25. I too went golfing, but I own this, man. Okay,
25, that's
if
not
you're not
bad.
smart, then what? I
You
mean,
can start polishing them.
Kiss this boot.
kiss the ring. Anyhow,
shine.
so I took half the antibiotics. I did what you're
that's
not
right.
supposed to do,
Yep.
and then
24 is the average in Michigan.
Okay.
really.
Yeah, you're average.
Okay.
No, I'm above
above
average.
average.
Did you not hear
By
I got a 25?
0.6%.
Did you not hear it?
24.4.
Yeah. Enough. Anyhow, then I got re-sick because I didn't get rid of it all. And then in that, y'all got sick. And then because you all got sick, that's my bad. Because I could have just taken the full antibiotics and then it probably wouldn't have hit you.
It was terrible.
Dude, and it lasted so long. Lingerer.
Big time.
Yeah.
I'm still sick.
Yeah.
We're still sick.
It's like a 10-day thing.
This is your
I'm
fault.
sort of still sick.
I thought I was going to get it, but I'm still alive, so.
It's funny because when I
Keep fingers
recorded the
crossed.
That means you're
voiceover,
trapped in a small room with us.
when I recorded, yeah, I know.
I'm doomed.
When I recorded that voiceover for the new intro for the show, I was very sick.
You can hear it.
And I sound more manly though. I like it. I kind of miss
Take
it
it.
now.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Ride that.
Take it any I
Greenway
can get.
Outdoors.
It's not nose.
Yeah, welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. My name's Kyle Green. They're like, man, he sounds manly today. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's
manly.
For all you ladies listening.
Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors.
Now,
I'd rather throw up.
on the trip that I got you guys all sick, we went to South Dakota. And on the back end of this podcast, the end of it, man, we do this really cool interview. We met this guy named Sam, super nice dude. So Sam was the head of a fish hatchery, and I've always been kind of like, I always knew roughly how they worked, but I was never like fully aware of how they work. So essentially, the coolest part about this fish hatchery, and he'll talk about it some, I'll touch on the things that he won't talk about, and there's a video interview that I did with him that you'll see in this podcast at the end here. But the sturgeon, so it was a certain species of sturgeon. For the life of me now, I can't remember what subspecies it was, but it's a sturgeon.
Was it like albino or something?
Nope.
No.
Could be wrong.
Couldn't be more wrong.
They happen to have an albino paddlefish that they
That's
made
what
a
it
big
was.
deal about.
Yep.
That you blended to everything's albino. You're albino. You're albino. He's looking at all the fish, yelling at the tanks, yelling albino. But anyhow,
The fish kind of look albino. They're like, don't have a lot of pigment to them.
that's not true. So
The bigger ones.
the baby ones are pitch black.
Oh, yeah, sure,
And as
those
they get
ones.
older, they're gray. And technically, even the paddlefish that you saw wasn't albino. They were just a type of albino, because to be albino, you have to have red eyes. They don't have red eyes,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it wasn't actually an
They're
albino
just like
fish.
a white.
It was like they're almost see-through. They were
Yeah,
so
they're just
small.
like a white.
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying
I'd
they're
say
like
transparent,
a
yeah.
color of white.
The babies, the bills were almost, you could see through them like
Yeah, you
transparent.
could see all the
Yeah,
cartilage.
you'd have to be there to know. Jeff missed it, so.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
Lucky for you, you get to see the interview. But anyhow, here's the fascinating thing about it. So, are you familiar? I don't know if it's in Greenland or Antarctica or where it is, but there is
yeah.
something where there's
Mexico, probably.
no, it's somewhere cold for sure.
It is.
Basically, it is a place where they store all the seeds of all the world as a backup.
I want to say Greenland, but I might
It's
be
a
wrong.
backup if all like nuclear fallout happens or some bad thing happens or a volcano erupts and all the crops die or something. It's a backup of all the seeds of all the necessary crops, plants, and things like that in the entire world, stored there in like a vault as a backup, and they're frozen so that they'll last,
It's
for a long
literally a
time.
backup for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. It's like a Jesus backup.
I'm glad it's in place.
But anyhow, yeah, it's kind of neat that it is in place. So you
It's
wonder.
in Norway.
I was going to guess it.
Svalbard Global Seed Vault.
Svalbard.
Now, who owns it? Can you find out who owns that vault? Because that's kind of important.
Yeah.
Vladimir.
Like Putin owns it, and it's like something
Yeah,
goes.
Yeah. Whoever owns that, if something does happen, they run the world.
I feel like it's not that expensive to put it together. You can go to. I almost said Marvin Gardens.
what
It's
is
Monopoly.
that?
Monopoly. Yeah. But you can go to you can buy a
Botanical
lot
gardens.
of seeds that matter
Yeah.
for not that much money. Seeds aren't expensive.
But they keep it, the vault is the thing that's important.
Yeah, but they keep it in a cold area, I would assume, so that they don't have to pay for refrigeration. So if there is a fallout, it still works.
Yeah, I don't know. The seed vault is managed under terms spelled out in a tripartite agreement among the Norwegian government.
Was it tripart? Did you just pull
Tripart. Man, I don't know how I've made it this far in life not knowing how to read.
I know.
I know, man.
Anyhow.
We get hooked on phonics.
Go ahead and continue, Ryan.
The Crop Trust and the Nordic Genetic Resource Center. The Norwegian government entirely
Vikings.
funded the vault's approximately 45 million. Oh, that's their money. 8.8 million US dollars
Okay.
So
That's how much it co-
8.8
to build.
I assume it's
who
like
owns
a
it?
concrete kind of thing, safe from
It
radiation.
sounds like the Norwegian government.
we should go there and cover it.
All I'm saying is if we had a good generator with a refrigerator, we're in the wrong business, guys. 8.8
Lots,
million?
lots of cinder blocks.
I don't think they're making much money off that.
Yeah.
No, it's just how much it costs.
Somebody got paid $8.8 million for that to take place. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody did.
To build
We
a
could
building.
that. We could build that. It's
Yeah,
probably
we could
easy.
do that. We don't even like production. So anyhow, the seed backup.
Yep.
So essentially it's a place where there's all the seeds that are necessary to grow crops and plants and food and everything else throughout the world. It's a backup. Well, they did that at this hatchery with paddlefish. So essentially over the last 21 years...
Sturgeon or paddlefish?
Geez, why would I say paddlefish? No, wait, thanks, AJ, with your albino
Yeah, your
stuff.
albino. Good job,
Yeah.
dude.
Thanks, AJ. So anyhow, sturgeon. Thank you, Jeffrey. Which I don't say very often.
Is there something wrong? You might be really sick.
You
I
are
don't
sick.
know.
So the sturgeon,
He's dying, I think.
essentially, they raise them there, and then they go out and they actually harvest sturgeon. They take a needle and they pull out sperm from a random male, a wild one, mind you, and then they take eggs from a female, and they put them in a bucket, and then they put the sperm all over the eggs, and then they stir it, get this, with a turkey feather, because it is the perfect stiffness but also softness in order to stir up the
Interesting. I didn't remember that part.
the baby batter and get it all over the eggs, and they get inseminated.
They can't inseminated.
Yeah,
They can't just like put 2 fish in a tank and let them have their fun.
I don't think no.
They like lay the eggs on the floor, and then the one comes along.
Yeah, well, think how many more. It's a lot easier just to take a needle and go psh, and then mix
Well, they
it.
do.
There's a lot of chance
They
there.
like tie them up and stuff, so they do some cool stuff.
Oh
for
yeah,
them, but
yeah,
that's no.
European
What
influence.
are you referencing, buddy?
So they take out the eggs and they take out the sperm and then they put it in a bucket, mix it together, and then they raise them. The babies are born and then they raise them. And a side note on the paddlefish, they train the paddlefish there because they're filter feeders to eat pellets
Yeah.
of food. So they can be trained. It's like that old Zig Ziglar. Don't ruin this for me. Zig Ziglar goes. He was walking a dog.
Do the voice.
I can't do it. Old Zig. So Zig Ziglar, he said he was walking a dog with his family, and they came upon another couple that also had a dog, and they were talking. They said, "Man, he's got a beautiful coat," and they said, "Yeah." Thank you. And they're like, well, what do you feed him to get that perfect, coat on the dog? And he said, turnip grains. And Zig replied, he goes, my dog wouldn't eat turnip grains. And the guy goes, mine wouldn't either for the first 2 weeks. And that's all you are. So things will eat what you offer.
Force-feeding.
Yeah.
I wonder if then we did have some kind of fallout and they had to reintroduce the sturgeon into the wild, if there would be a difference now. Kind of like the jumping carp where they...
No. See, they thought of that. So what they did genetically is from each batch, because they take 2 wild ones, that helps prevent it, and then they take like 20 of those babies every year and save 20 of those. But then they've been doing that for 21 years. So there's 21 different gene pools and variations of that gene pool. It's just because you have the same parents doesn't mean they're the same. Look at me and my sister. We're like polar opposites. So it's the same thing with the sturgeon is, that they take those variations and they store them in tanks. So then they stave them there so that if there should be a fallout where all the sturgeon die or something happens to the river, because they're only that specific species is only in the Missouri River chain. If that's gone or something happens there, they have the replacement then of 21 different subfamilies of sturgeon that can crossbreed and create their own variations,
Well,
so
no.
that wouldn't be the case.
But what I'm saying is, would they then all be looking for pellets and they wouldn't know how to bottom
that's
feed anymore?
that's paddlefish, and no, they can still filter feed and they still put microorganisms in the water,
okay.
but to supplement the diet to make sure they get enough
Because they would
calories.
How do you put enough plankton? You don't think
Right.
they can acquire enough?
Yeah. That's why you got to snag them, because you can't put enough plankton on a hook. We're talking about paddlefish. We're bouncing back and forth, so we should be a little bit more organized with our thoughts.
Yeah,
here.
AJ.
But let's hear about the albinos again, AJ.
You're such an expert.
It's like never talking again.
So the sturgeon now, what they did was, so they mix up those eggs and they raise them and they release once the now they used to release fry, which is a baby fish, like real
guys.
tiny. But the success rate was micro. So what they'll do is they'll keep them now until they're pretty, like, maybe 8 or 9 inches, and then let them go, and the success rate, way higher.
Yeah.
Exploded. Because it's a big walleye fishery, the Missouri River, so they're more likely at that size to survive walleye as opposed to as a fry.
Gotcha.
Good night, kiddo. You're going to get it.
Yeah, the hatchery was quite the operation. Something that we've never seen before.
No.
It was something that you can't even really explain that well.
Sam rolled out the red carpet for us, too. Yeah, and like I said,
he was awesome.
that interview with him, he was the perfect person to have as a guest on the show, because he didn't take over the whole thing.
Didn't ask a bunch of questions.
He didn't make things difficult, and everything we needed, he was like getting ladders, so we got those aerial shots and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
He lined up everything for us and
big
just
ladder.
made it so easy.
Did he ask all the common questions, though?
Yep.
Everyone does.
Does AJ get that he looks like Jack Black? How do you guys make money?
3 questions. 3 questions we get every single time. How old are you?
Oh, yeah, that's the only
Does AJ know he looks like Jack Black?
one. No, he's oblivious.
You're the first one.
Not even AJ knows what he looks like.
And how do you guys make money? Those are our 3 questions that we get. I know that those 3 questions, though, I've answered them so many times that I don't even think people take us seriously until they ask them. I judge people that don't ask those questions now. I'll be like, oh, so you don't care? You don't care. What if he doesn't know? And now
I
you
feel like
call
the character might grow from not asking those questions.
Yeah.
Because they're just letting us do our thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can only hope, but
Yeah,
not
that's
the
true.
case. But yeah, so he was like the perfect guest to have on the show and so knowledgeable. So that interview is going to come up later on, and I don't want to spoil any more of it, but I just thought it was so fascinating that the seed thing exists. And then you got that backup with these sturgeon, and just that it's so well thought out, and it's basically funded by fishing licenses, conservation organizations, stuff like that, and the government. So people stop buying fishing licenses or don't care anymore, then you're in big trouble. And a big focus of what they do at the hatchery, because they've got so many cool things. This is the one in Yankton, South Dakota. Go there and ask for Sam. In Yankton, South Dakota at the fish hatchery, it's basically a museum. They have like every fish there, a couple albinos for AJ.
Yeah.
But it is a really, they had an albino snapping turtle that bit our GoPro pretty good.
Was that albino?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Almost. No red eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
What I thought was really cool as far as like B-roll is like to get footage of like every North American fish for us will be like a library of things that we can use in episodes. But besides that, they had these logs that were hollowed out, and the catfish would all hide in there. And it just if you ever wanted a visual on what noodling is like when you stick your hand in the hole and the fish bites you, the catfish. You get like the perfect visual of it there because they're literally hiding and they're in those little crevices and they're sitting there.
This is what you're sticking your hand into.
Legit.
to get bit, which was also scary as there's also snapping turtles in a lot of those little log things
goodness.
too. But that's cool, you know.
How often are there snapping turtles and snakes? You probably won't get one.
I'll never
Probably.
I'll never forget though. First time we went noodling, we went with this guy. The one Jeffrey almost killed by accident.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, good
He
guy.
didn't speak very good
At all?
at all. I can't say English because he spoke, that was his language, but he didn't speak that well. And it was kind of hard to understand.
He
But
had a very thick accent.
I'm asking all these questions because I'm a little nervous too. There's something about experiencing something dangerous for the first time when the only person that you have to rely on doesn't speak good English. That's a combination.
Was he
that's-
foreign?
No.
No.
Oh.
He
Just
just real
deep-
good. Like
deep hills,
very-
deep-
I think he
very-
understood English well.
Yeah.
I don't think he spoke it well.
He spoke
Nah.
with such a strong accent that it was hard to understand.
There's no way
Too
he,
many-
he could hear himself talk.
Too many people tried throwing a rock at his head.
It was an accident.
And maybe
Listen,
one got there.
listen, he walked forward, planned like he was walking forward, and then ducked behind a log, and I was skipping rocks having fun.
And look
Sorry
at you
for
as
having
if you
fun.
if you had
And
a
then-
hit on him.
Tell him the story, Jeff, but don't do the thing where you tell the end. I swear, if you do that, I'll
we're
end this
walking.
podcast.
You have told us.
And as we're walking, I'm casually leaning back a little bit. I really like to skip rocks. I've gotten pretty good at it.
Describe the river.
That sounds like a weird
Set
thing.
the
The
scene.
river is
What a
like a
weird thing to say.
long, winding. It's super wide, so you can skip
If you've ever seen a
rocks.
river before, you've seen what
Well, it's like
they're
You can
at.
skip
triple
rocks
wide, though. It's big.
across the width and not get to the other side.
You
So
could
it's-
like
it's a
throw a
good-
baseball as hard as you could across from one side to the other and not get all the way across.
Oh yes, for sure. So we're walking and we're checking holes as we go, and then there's this little island, and everybody walks forward. So I hang out in the back a little bit so I can skip some rocks because we're in a different state. I like to skip rocks in each
He's
state.
got
we
no
go to.
friends.
I
We were
hear
all
that again.
To be fair,
If I
we
hear
were
it
all
again.
To be
We were
fair,
all
we were all
skipping
skipping
rocks.
rocks. To be fair,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We like it.
I'm skipping rocks, and I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I can hit that island. It's pretty far away, but I bet I can hit it.
Oh goodness.
And there's
He
a
picks-
log like laying in front of the island.
Meanwhile, hold on. While we're skipping rocks, I can't let this go on. While we're skipping rocks, okay, we're all playing around now because we've been noodling for four hours, and he's like, we had flooding before, so they're not in their nests like they were supposed to be. The river height's way high. Basically, what happens to us every time we try and film anything ever.
Who said this?
guy.
Yeah, like people.
Oh, he tried to. He got it out.
So now we've walked.
He had a translator.
But he had us. His whole family came and walked along shore with us while we were filming, talking to me.
That was
while
fun,
we're trying
yeah.
to film. It was awesome because they're sweet, but it was horrible for filming. So
Lot
and
of
it was,
background noise.
this is season 1, so this is before we had any kind of backbone to tell people to just
Yep.
give us a break.
Yep.
AJ would have lost his mind.
That was the
Oh
first time I'm
my
like,
God.
what is this? What am I editing here?
Who let this
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
I was like, that's me.
We're learning.
we're all friends out here. So anyhow, we go out with him, and then the communication is so rough that it is like almost like I'm in a foreign country. Like he's speaking English, but I don't know what he's retaining from me, and I definitely am not retaining everything he's saying. So now he walks us upstream. about a mile. So everyone else is way back now. But we've pretty much written off thinking that this is going to be a successful noodling excursion. So what we start doing is we all start skipping rocks, and then Jeffrey, so picture the island really, really, really wide. So if it was this wide, in the middle there's like this strip of like, not an island, it's like rocks all bunched up. Okay?
Okay.
So we're all skipping rocks towards those rocks
You'll
from
notice
shore
that
on the other
most
side.
of the facts that he's given were very important to the story.
Shut up, Jeff. I'm making it better.
He's telling the story like this is so much better. You found out about the guy's family. You found out about like
I when I tell a story, I can't leave a detail out because it builds it up to what it is. So then Jeffrey, he picks up a rock about the size of a frisbee and about as thick as...
Incorrect. I had skipped 6 or 7 rocks at this
That's a
thing
big
already.
rock, if that's
Hold
the
on.
case.
And they're probably about yay big. They got a lot of like slate or
Yeah,
whatever
it's like
that
a
thin
It's like a
black
stone.
rock is.
I would call it stone instead of rock. Like
Yeah.
sharp stone.
Yeah. And I had skipped probably 6 or 7 at this thing. I'm like, I'm going to hit this thing, darn it. So I find a bigger one that's more flat, better
Keep in
for
mind, the
skipping.
guy is still noodling while we're all just messing around. So
Yeah.
we're messing around. That guy kind of just kept wandering off on his own quite a bit.
He was in front of us the whole time.
He'd go ahead, he'd go behind, he'd go forward, he'd go backward, he'd check this, check that. He was just very random. And what he was doing was, along that strip in the island that we were throwing rocks at, he was going down underwater a lot, and he was using a stick and poking around looking for holes, because there was like kind of a bank there, because it was like stacked up rocks, and looking for rocks, and then he'd stick the stick in, and if a fish hit it or he found a hole, then he'd know to stick his hand in there. And what you do when you're noodling, so those of you who don't know, it's where you stick your hand in a hole underneath the water that you cannot see, hoping there's a fish in there that bites the living bejesus out of you. Okay, that's your goal. So, but if the hole when you put the stick in, if the hole goes down, it means it's a fish hole. If the hole goes up, it could be snakes. It could, like, back to the surface, it could be
Something for
snakes.
air, yeah.
Something for air, turtles, danger. So down is good, up is bad. So he would go underwater and he's looking for holes down in this riverbank while we're skipping rocks at that island. Now, I am fully aware, and so is everyone else where he is, except for Jeffrey. So Jeffrey picks up, and he says incorrect, but I remember seeing that thing, and it was big, the rock that he picked up. And it was made out of this slate, black, just charcoal-colored, sharp, shiny rock.
It's about the size of a coaster.
It wasn't.
I skipped it.
Then you have the biggest coasters ever.
I believe this story never
skipped it.
happened.
I skipped it probably, had to have been at least 30 to 40 feet. And there's no way you're skipping a rock the size he's saying 30 to 40
So
feet.
anyhow, psychopath killer over here picks it up. He skips this rock, and I happen to look over at the
Perfect skip.
I look over at the perfect time, and thank God, so did that man.
Nope.
He
was oblivious. He didn't know.
I thought he looked at you like
Dude,
you were.
he-
No, this is not the story I heard before.
How are
He
you
came
just
up,
butchering this?
He came up right as my rock is skipping, and it goes.
I thought he
And
dodged
he's-
it.
Yeah,
No,
that's
he
what
did
that's
not.
the story I heard.
100% dodged
He came up. He's still looking for holes. He had no idea. I went. And I look around, and other people saw, but he was completely oblivious. I'm like,
I thought
That's never the story I've heard.
I'm not going to have this.
He's wrong.
I'm not going to have this.
100% wrong.
I'm not going to have this argument. That man was terrified for his life.
Incorrect.
That's what I heard.
I thought that he looked at
came
you
up,
as
he
if
saw
you
it,
were
and
he kept
hit it,
sucked
putting a
down.
hit on
The
him.
He
more
kept-
stories we tell, the more I feel like he as he builds things up like he's doing right now.
No.
He then believes
No.
those things
Just
and then
'cause
builds
you're
it
a
up the next
murderer.
time and then builds it up the next time.
Let me tell you something. If that rock would have hit that man,
he would have been
because
dead.
It missed by a centimeter.
No question.
He would have been dead on impact.
Temple, and he would have been dead.
And that thing was sharp, and it was a rock, and he did know, and he kept such a distance from us on the walk back.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And then I bought him lunch because I felt bad, even though we didn't get any fish, and it was a horrendous experience. But you almost
and
killed
then you
that
essentially
man.
got robbed at the
almost
end.
killed
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that was just weird in general.
Yeah.
That
was a very weird encounter.
Season 1 had all kind of weird encounters because we didn't know what we were doing yet, really, with like dealing with other people. Everything I had done in production was in the medical talk show industry, where it's like I would book guests, they would come on, I would organize everything. I know exactly what questions are going to be asked. I know how they're going to answer because I've already asked them these 100 times. Everything's organized. We had 84 people on set, different camera angles. Everything's good. Directing, filming, editing, perfect. With this, it's like, we're going to try and film sticking our hands in holes to catch fish from a guy that we can't understand that Jeffrey almost killed.
And wasn't the water pretty cold, too? I remember you saying it was like Arctic.
No,
It was
not there.
in May.
No, it was fine. Not that
It
trip.
wasn't bad, though.
We've had plenty of Arctic trips, but it wasn't that one.
No.
Yeah.
I
That sounds.
seem to remember a different clip where
What was the other...
you guys were talking about how you couldn't swear because the water was so cold.
The water was cold there. He's
Was it
right.
cold in one spot but not another?
No, he's completely right. We just got used to it. He's right. When we first got in, the video
Yeah,
footage
it
of
was
us
right
getting
when
in,
you
we're like,
first walked-
"Ah!"
Yeah, it was right when you
yeah,
first
I
walked
do
in.
He's
remember
right.
that now.
And it was weird, too, because you want to wear, like, I guess you're not supposed to wear a long sleeve shirt, but then they have you wear these gloves, and the gloves are like this.
Garden gloves.
Thank you. Yeah, garden
okay.
gloves.
Yeah.
And the reason why you wear those garden gloves is because it's like it gets stuck in their teeth, the fish, when they bite you. Well, okay, so it gets stuck in their teeth. Well, then why wouldn't like my a Henley type shirt would do exactly the same thing if they bit your arm? But apparently, if they get a hold of your shirt and then get caught up, they could drag you under it because your shirt won't come off.
The glove will.
Now, the messed up thing is, where we went the first time, a guy went down and it was a hole that was 15 foot underwater in the middle of the river. And he got hooked up with a huge fish, and the fish bit him, and he was trying to pull it out of the hole, then couldn't, then exhausted himself and all of his oxygen. Fish wouldn't let go, was doing barrel rolls, killed him. Right there.
Yeah.
Right where we were.
Which
He's
is why
probably
we
doing it. Wasn't like the first rule, don't do it alone.
So,
Yeah.
where-
Plus, then I was like,
so you're
what
doing it
hole is
alone?
it? Yeah.
So where is that on the deserve it scale?
That's pretty
7.
high.
That's
I
high.
feel like that's a Darwin Award
7.
for sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's 7 or
7
8.
out of 10.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
the other
it-
thing...
What a
points
stupid-
descend because he died.
And here's the thing: if you're like, would you go noodle it alone? It's like, well, on the river bank on the side, yeah, I probably would.
If I got both my feet on the ground, okay.
Yeah,
But
if you're diving 15 foot underwater, to
no
go
way,
at-
man.
that's-
That's,
that's
deep.
to go after Moby
15
Dick.
foot is deep.
Extremely.
Speaking of going underwater,
oh god.
and
So thank
weird
goodness
fishing.
Jeff didn't kill that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Or else, maybe if you had hit him in the
Well, I
head,
don't
he
know
would
that
have
he's
been able
alive.
to talk.
I just know that we didn't kill him.
Because when you said that he kept his distance, I thought that he knew that Jeff
was
did it
horrified. He
did.
because
Horrified.
He did.
as if
You
Jeff
know
was trying to kill him.
Let me ask you this: how many times, AJ, since you've been here for 4 years, how many times have you experienced him be oblivious to other people's reactions?
Oh, correct, no question. But like, if you see someone go, like, you'd know that versus
The man stood up.
The ones
and
I've
was
experienced
worried
are
about.
high.
Yes, that man was worried about being with us. Mm-hmm. Like he tried to kill him.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Okay, let me ask you this: the man that you're counting on to be observant of the other man's feelings is also the man dumb enough to skip a rock that almost killed somebody.
Yeah, that part is tough to hear.
Now what?
I know.
That's tough for you. That's a tough case
You
to
knew
make.
he was ahead,
Yeah.
but you didn't factor in the possibility that I might hit this man.
yeah. Well, no, I thought he was like actually had because that's
To
when
be
we were
fair,
going
his
back.
bald head did look like a rock.
I
At
remember
that
that.
point, we were going back the way we had come, and he was. We
also
thought
not.
he was.
We decided to go
in
back
already.
after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
So,
wasn't it.
yeah.
We weren't headed back yet. Also, remember?
sure?
Positive. Remember also we found that almost completely buried car
Yeah.
under sand
Oh, that's
on the
cool.
riverbank.
It was upside down, and all you could see was the bumper and 2 tires.
Did you feel for like
bizarre.
a skeleton inside or
I got a
anything?
cute pic in it. I did.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Duck face.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that was. Now, when I look back at that experience and how weird that is, I like weird fishing. Fishing with a rod and reel is cool. I mean, you go out and you're catching crappies, it's fun. You go out, but I like weird fishing.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're going to Maui now to spearfish is going to be awesome.
That's gonna be so awesome.
Now, I don't know what I pictured,
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
but I know that we are now going where we're walking in from shore to
That's
a
nice.
shallow reef
Oh,
right there.
really?
That's what I
Okay.
like.
That's what I was hoping.
And we
Thank
have,
goodness.
we have the paddleboard company that's sponsoring us, giving us boards with all kinds of stuff on it that you guys will be able to sit on and use as, gear holders and stuff like that. And Steve, who we're going to be with, who's like our liaison for everything that is Hawaii. He's staying with us at the house. He's taking us everywhere. He's showing us around, showing us all the best restaurants,
We're gonna offend
going
him
everywhere.
for sure.
Steve will be offended by the end of the trip, yes. No, he's cool. He's young. He's our age. He'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
But he's a certified scuba diver, and he brought all his gear.
Oh, cool.
So we will have a scuba diver with us when we're spearfishing that knows how to work cameras. So we'll be able to have 3 angles, and one of them will be underwater all the time.
That'll be cool.
awesome.
So you guys might have to show him how to work it because we're using the Sonys, the smaller Sonys for that. Mm-hmm. So they're a little more complicated than.
Yeah, if he doesn't know what he's doing, yes, they can.
He said he does to a degree, but I mean, you guys
That
are
means
professionals.
no. I feel.
You guys are professionals. Just
Yeah.
pointing at the stuff we're trying to kill. Okay, Steve? No, but so if we're filming that, we'll have 3 different angles going. Plus, we'll have all the GoPros mounted on spear guns and stuff, so 5 angles. We'll just have to be really cognizant of not filming each other while doing it, which will be its own difficulty. But man, I couldn't be more excited about it. So we're going
We're 2
walking
weeks
up.
away.
Yeah, I cannot believe that.
Do we get any-
I am not excited though. 100% not excited because it doesn't feel real that we're going to
until we
Seattle.
get there.
Then we're in the mountains in Washington hunting chukar, and then all of a sudden we're in Hawaii. None of it feels real, so I'm not excited, to be completely honest. I was driving here talking about it. I go, I'm not excited, and I don't know why.
Do you know? We're doing spear gun? Do we get to do the Hawaiian sling thing?
What?
Jeff, if we can hit a fish with a spear gun,
Yeah.
we'll be in the top 1% for our first time out, according to him.
Oh.
Because not only do you have to submerge underwater,
Yeah.
you got to stay there and hunt
Yeah.
fish because it's still hunting.
Yeah.
So if you want to use the Hawaiian sling, then you
I
do
just
that.
thought it'd be cool to try. You know?
Yeah, you do it, bud.
It's one of
you
two
do it.
options.
I'm going to attempt to get
We're
one
gonna
fish.
be there for a week, so
Yeah.
I don't-
Yeah, but don't think we have a lot of time because
Yeah,
we
dude.
get there on
When do we have time?
we never do.
we get there Monday night. They're gonna have the our house is all set up for us. We're staying on this ranch. It's the big cattle ranch in Maui there, and Steven's family owns it. It's like 10,000 acres or something like that. But anyhow, we're staying there at one of the houses, and then they have a target range set up for us. They've got like 50, 100, 250, and 500 yard ranges set up, and we'll be able to zero in our guns to make sure the plane didn't mess up anything. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're pig hunting and axis deer hunting. Friday, Saturday, we're spearfishing. But keep in mind, spearfishing is like a 4 or 5 hour excursion. You ever swam for 4 hours?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna be
it's not.
tired.
right. So Friday, Saturday afternoons will be wide open to shoot B-roll and go hang out, and then Sunday wide open for fun. Monday wide open to fun because our plane doesn't take off till like midnight.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we have 2 full days of only fun, and then really Friday and Saturday,
Dude.
the whole afternoons we'll have for fun too, because we'll really only be able to film for 4 or 5 hours. But I figure one of those days we'll probably go out on a real good weather day and go around all over. I like to drive all around Maui. I want to
No
see
doubt.
everything. And imagine
Anything that's touristy, I want to do the opposite.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I want to take the drones everywhere. I want to take the cameras everywhere and get cool pictures and video and all kinds of
Yeah.
B-roll and stuff. Sometimes I think most of some of our real fun things that we do is where we all just go out together with cameras and we're only filming B-roll, but we're just having a blast doing it. And that's a fun thing. I think we'll do that on a day too. But we're having there's some professional surfer that's going to be there that Steve set up that's teaching us how to surf.
That'd be
The
cool.
surfboard company that's sponsoring us and the paddle boards and stuff will be able to use those. He goes, "Are you guys bringing your fishing poles too?" I was like, "To be honest with you," I was like, "We're spearfishing 2 days. We're hunting axis deer and pigs. I think we're just gonna." And he's got a resort there already set up that we can go to the resort, hang out in the pool right by the water, right by the ocean too.
Wow.
So we've got.
Well, I'll be at the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So everything's set up for us though.
I'm gonna which I hope we all do, treat it like we did Mardi Gras, where
No sleep.
Sleep is for the weak.
Yeah.
We don't sleep
That's
on this
fine with
trip
me.
because I'm thinking if we keep
You
it to
got to
6
factor
hours.
in the jet lag the first couple of days. We're 6 hours behind Michigan.
Don't care.
We get that. We get in.
Make
at,
it 12.
We get in. We get in at 8 p.m. But we're going to probably have him already get the truck too and everything because we have to have a
Nice.
ram there. So we'll have the truck and everything waiting for us. We're waking up. We'll go to bed. But I don't know how we're gonna sleep. I'm already so excited when we first get there. We're
I
like
hope we
little
get
kids.
TVs on the plane.
We are. We're flying Delta, and it's 5 hour plus rides. There's no way we won't.
It's a
get
5 hour flight.
It's probably
It's
longer
2
than that.
5 hour flights because we have a 5 hour flight to Seattle and then a 5 hour flight to Hawaii.
What are we flying to Delta? Or to Washington?
Delta. Everything's Delta. The whole thing.
And it's 5 hours?
5 hours from here to Washington.
Is there a layover?
No.
It's like 3 hours
That
to
makes
Vegas.
sense.
So
Yeah,
No.
it's like 3.5 hours to San Francisco.
your brother lives there. What would you know?
Yeah, that's to say, every flight I've taken there has been like 3 hours.
There's also a chance that I am doing something wrong based on the time change.
Oh,
Could be.
yeah.
Could be.
I know when
Probably.
we leave and I know when we get there.
Okay.
It's still high though.
It could
high
be
hours.
like 5 hours and
Yeah.
45 minutes, and it's only 2 hours and
The
45
good thing
minutes.
about the jet lag, though, is that we'll have 4 days in Washington to adjust there.
Yep, that's
And then
true.
we adjust again once
Yeah.
we go to Hawaii.
There's
So
3 hours
not
there,
bad.
and then 3 more.
the really
once we get
painful one is going to be when we come back to Michigan.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but I could care less.
I could care less. So anyhow, yeah, that will be hell. So it's 5 hours from Hawaii to Seattle and 5 hours from Hawaii to from Maui we're flying into, and from 5 hours from Maui to LA. On the way home, we have a 5-hour flight to LA, and we leave at midnight.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
From
Yeah,
Hawaii.
they have red eyes.
Yeah, but I want to experience. I don't care about sleep. I mean,
I don't care.
I will
Sleep
100% be sick upon return, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be
dude.
sick. I'll be sick.
I wish we had a little more time in LA.
But I do have some backup
know
antibiotics that I didn't take all of from the.
We can all share.
It's gotta be a cure, right?
I've learned nothing. But we have the 5 hour to LA and then 5 hour back to Michigan from there. That'll be and there's an hour layover in LA, so it's an 11-hour
excited.
excursion home. But I don't even care. And it is Delta, so we'll have little TVs and watch movies and stuff like that.
Oh. How do you want to try to get your guns back from Washington? Are you bringing guns?
Okay, so my dad, and he listens to this, so I gotta be careful. But I'm taking his 270 because he just got a new 270, and I love it. It's
Oh,
that
you are
really
bringing
sweet
that to
savage.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm saying for
I'm not
for
allowed-
shotguns.
Is that the one we used for Coyote?
Yeah.
That was a
And
cool gun.
I know, and I'm not allowed to put that in a case with another gun.
Oh, that's right.
I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because apparently I messed something up before, and I did.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So
In his defense, anytime he's been nervous, you've done the thing. So
okay, I got a quick story. So Jeff and I, and then we'll go back to that. But Jeff and I, I'll never forget this. I'll never. He doesn't even know. I don't think still. So I'm probably like
He'll know now.
selling myself out right here. Okay, so Jeffrey and I. This
he
is,
knows to some degree.
we were still like
You
six,
came back with him.
We were like 17 years old. Okay, and my dad. He had these really, really nice boots that were like super insulated and stuff like that.
Brand new.
We were going ice fishing. And I was like, I want to take those boots out because my boots, I messed them up or something like that, or I left them outside and they had water in them
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
So
I was
I should
like,
take
so
someone
That
else's
sounds like
boots.
something you do.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to take my dad's boots, right? I'll never forget this. So I was like, he's like, no, I don't want you to take them. And I was like, I was a 17-year-old kid who didn't listen, so I took the boots. I'll never freaking forget this. Jeffrey and I are out there ice fishing, and I left the shanty, and I looked down, and these are expensive boots, too, and I looked down.
This is at some point after.
I
when he
already
goes-
know what
When he
happened,
goes,
dude.
he looks down, he looks, check out these boots. They're so cool. They're my dad's new boots. He's like, you don't want me to take them, but like, they're brand new. What
What's
could
gonna
go
happen?
wrong?
What's gonna go wrong with boots? Honestly, how are you gonna break boots? You know what I mean? So,
Well, I've seen you
so
do
then
it plenty of times.
I go out, I come back, and I look down, and somehow the seam at the top or something, I have no idea what I did. It busted open. So like the stuffing was there. I go,
They look like Toms.
Oh,
I go-
I thought you were going to say you're next to the heater and it melted.
no, worse. So I open up the shanty. I go, Jeff, I broke the boots. I broke his
the
boots.
seam along the whole top like came open or something, so they were like.
Yeah,
they
it's
looked
like you could see
Toms.
like you could see
Which
the inside of
to me,
boots.
I don't think there's anything you could do to boots that would make that happen. Like
That's
the
what I'm
first
saying.
time
But
they
leave
were
it
out.
to me.
So I feel like they were faulty boots, and you did your dad a favor by pointing out the fault. So then it didn't happen to him while he was out on the ice.
I
and
went
got his feet
home.
wet.
I went home and put those boots right back in the basement in the storage cabinet and didn't say a word.
Also, that was 13
Really?
years
Never
ago,
talked about
so.
it. Yeah, if he's
What's he
still
gonna
mad.
do?
I don't know. He's still bigger than me. But
Did you try to order pizza?
it's like but just a slice. Anyhow, but yeah, the boots busted wide open. So back to that. So he's adamant that if I am taking gun, which he actually said no, but then I laughed. So then he knows I'm gonna take it, and it's like you know what a gag we have. So I am gonna take the gun, and it's the perfect gun. A 270 is absolutely perfect for axis deer and wild boar. There, just perfect. It's such a flat-moving, hard-hitting round that's small and quick, and it's the right caliber for axis deer because they're smaller deer. It's a little light for the boar, but it's going to be fine. And it's super accurate at long distances, which we're hunting on mountains, so having the range is good, and it's perfect. So I can't put that in a case with another gun. So I'm thinking we bring 3 cases, total.
Holy smokes.
Jeez.
2 shotguns in one,
That's the case I got.
a rifle in another, and a rifle in another, and then we send Ryan's dad home with the
He's
shotgun.
not coming with us.
Say what?
Yeah.
Why not? What the problem is?
He's just going at a different time.
Oh, must be cool. Well,
He's going a few days later when they're getting their puppy.
Well, I guess the trip is canceled.
Well, to be honest with you, this whole thing was about spending time with Mr. Parks. And
Oh, well, he's
Well,
gone.
not happening.
why doesn't he care about us? Is it a hatred thing? Or?
He wanted me to tell you he doesn't like you.
He wanted me to
If
tell
we're going to spend time with any Parks, it's going to be Mr. Parks.
Yeah. Although I'm actually pretty excited about Rich. He's our #1 Facebook fan, so
Yeah.
it'll be nice.
Yeah.
You'll never see me again.
You can't go nowhere.
Hey, Parks #3, you're doing okay.
But yeah, I'll be running a 270, and you're going to use your 30-06,
Yep.
I assume, right? That's your game plan. So, and then we have
So
to.
mine will be better for boar. It'll be a little big for...
We have an AR we can bring.
I don't.
Yeah, bring in a 4th case. Cool.
No, I'm just saying instead of that, if you want something...
He's being nice.
Yeah.
Jeez, Jeff.
Oh, do you want to use it now? Would you like to use it? No.
I don't think there's
Okay.
any rules on access deer or pigs. We didn't even have to buy tags there, right?
No, it's just a general hunting license.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you
Pretty
yours
nuts.
too, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Bless,
Nice.
bless our hearts.
Bless your hearts.
Yeah, aren't we
Yeah.
sweet?
So what was that you were saying?
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
that's
no,
what
you're
I'm
not
saying.
using it. I'm using it.
So,
I got your exemption number, buddy.
so
We need it to hunt.
actually,
I know, that's
we cannot make Jeffrey mad. He owns everything for us for licenses.
I signed the licenses.
Nice.
I sent the checks. But yeah, so I'm excited about the Hawaii trip. It's going to be fantastic. When you're listening to this podcast, we're on our way there pretty much right then and there.
Yeah.
And it's watch our social medias, watch our Facebooks, our Instagrams, and check us out for the stories that are going on and everything like that. We're incredibly excited about this entire
gonna be
trip.
wild.
Yeah, it's so cool. Apparently, I'm excited about the culture, the food,
Absolutely.
the food and the culture, and we're gonna have. We're access deer hunting, which is supposed to be a delicate, sweet, amazing meat that I'm so excited about. We're going to have time to actually properly freeze it and send it back. So we'll be eating that all year. On top of that, the wild boar is supposed to be amazing there. The pig meat there is supposed to be just fantastic, especially the females. So
I hope in the woods we can find some wild fruit. That would be cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
just to eat some random stuff.
Yeah, just be walking through the woods and be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's... I don't
like
know.
some
I don't know if
spikes
that's a
you cut
thing.
open and it's like a
That's going to be
perfectly
Ryan's
sweet treat.
Ryan's segment during the show. Is this poisonous? I don't know. Let's find out.
Let's find out.
He's the
What
one
is
that
it,
does try
chum chops?
everything.
Yeah.
But I'm
Some
excited.
chops.
The
What's this bait like? I don't know. Let's find out.
But we're gonna have a luau with some pig, some access deer, and some wild caught fish cooked over the campfire. And the pig's gonna be cooked in the ground,
That's
and
a
the
must.
access deer over the hot fire.
It's gonna be awesome.
I can't wait.
Sleep is for the weak.
Yeah, no sleep that trip. No sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And that is after hunting in the mountains of Washington with your brother and hiking 10 miles a day in
Yeah.
the snow, only to then go.
How do we pack for
To the
that?
opposite.
I guess what you make up for having to bring bulky
We-
clothes for Washington, you bring a lot of light clothes for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're trekking in Hawaii, so
something-
you need at least long sleeves and pants.
Well, the other thing is, he explained to me that Hawaii, it will be 80 degrees during the day,
Yeah.
but because we're in the mountains at the ranch, it'll be 50 at night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So in the morning,
Oh.
it'll be cold.
I didn't even think of this.
Whoa, cold.
We're in like
Yeah.
a foresty area, right? Do we need to get like shots or anything?
I don't think they have stuff like that, to be honest.
They don't
No.
even have predators. I do.
I don't think
but
they
if you
have
were to
very
tell
many
me,
poisonous things.
But what spiders do they have there?
Yeah,
I have,
That's what I'm saying. I don't
we
think
need to
they
know
ha-
about poisonous things. We need to know. We don't need to get shots? Maybe like a.
I don't get shots.
Anytime you go
Yeah,
anywhere
that
that's
too.
like far away, you got to get like a malaria shot or a
It's still the
dengue
United States.
fever shot or
Like the guy that makes
but
our
They still
clothing.
get tax
But
dollars.
like when you look at a map and it's like, oh look, it's right there by California. Like it's not actually. It's,
not.
really far
no,
away.
It's very far.
Really far.
so
very far.
You never know.
It's a 5-hour flight,
Yeah.
so it's basically the same distance.
Here's
yeah.
hoping.
Yeah.
Apparently,
It is.
though, they're like, because we're only doing local things. We're not doing anything touristy, except
yeah.
for maybe going to that one resort. Mm-hmm. So they said that they'll be able to peg that we are not locals immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They can't wait.
They
Except for AJ.
I forgot they call us a name, but I don't remember what it is. But
I say like mainlanders.
yeah. But anyhow,
Ooh,
well,
they have centipedes.
they have centipedes. Don't we have
Yeah.
centipedes?
It doesn't sound that.
We
bad.
have centipedes, but not like...
Centipedes
They
are good
actually-
They got centipedes
They
that carry things.
actually have 100 feet.
Yeah.
Most of the things that can hurt you, it looks like, are ocean creatures.
Good.
Shacks.
Good news. We're not going in the ocean at all.
Well, if we survive this trip, we will be back with another new podcast next week. Right now, we're actually going to go to the footage where we were with Sam, who was incredibly awesome at explaining what goes on in the Missouri River. But also, if you've ever wondered what your fishing licenses actually do and how these fish hatcheries work and what the hands-on conservation efforts really are when you buy that fishing tag, you're going to learn all about it from Sam and I. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green. Sam, we're at the fish hatchery here, and right now I am looking at a wide variety of sturgeon. I mean, if you walked in here, you wouldn't realize sturgeon are so endangered in the Missouri River chain, but they are, right?
They definitely are. They're a fish we're talking about the pallid sturgeon here,
Okay.
a species of fish found only in the Missouri River drainage and part of the lower Mississippi. Only place on earth they're found, and we happen to be a fish hatchery that specializes in conserving this species. We've been raising these fish for about 21 years. In doing so, we've slowed the disappearance of this species from the earth.
And you've got a backup plan, a reserve in place. We're in front of this tank here, and there's a bunch of tanks here, and you're actually saving these. It reminds me of the way the seeds work, and I forgot what cold climate it is, but they store all the seeds, so if there should be some big fallout, we have the seeds in the backup plan, and that's basically what this is a backup plan for sturgeon, so that if all of them should go away, you've got these species here with a wide variety of genes inside them. Now, how did you do that? What's that process like?
Yeah, we're in our captive broodstock building.
Okay.
Every fish in here, and there's a couple thousand, every one of them was hatched here at this hatchery over the last 21 years. Every year when we make a batch of these fish, we keep a few from each family, and a family would be a mother and a father. From each family, we keep a few, and they spend their whole lives with us in this building.
They're like the backup reserve plan.
Exactly. In a worst case scenario, if the wild population were to go extinct, we have several thousand fish here to rebuild from. But more likely and more often, these fish are used for all sorts of research projects that help us learn about this species.
Now, when you say keep a few, what happens to the other ones?
The rest are stocked or released into the Missouri River.
Okay.
From Montana to St. Louis, fish from this hatchery are spread out over, the entire length of the river, and in hopes of restoring that population of this rare fish that just it's been on the earth forever, but in the last 50, 100 years, their numbers have just disappeared, mostly due to habitat issues.
Okay. Now you've got, it seems like to me, a three-prong approach here for these sturgeon. You're breeding them to release them to get the numbers back up in the Missouri chain, but you're also saving some as a resource for backup, and then also the hatchery itself acts as a outreach or a learning program for a lot of people.
Absolutely, we do all of that, and particularly my job as a biologist, I spend a lot of my time on the outreach side of that. It's so important that we get our message out, that people understand what we do here, why we do it, why it's important to save a species like this, or why it's important to produce more game fish.
People go their whole lives and have no idea that this even exists.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean, they got no
That's
clue
right.
that the hatchery's there. And the most important part is the funding in order to keep stuff like this going. If your guys let's say you didn't have any funding, the lights get shut off, all these sturgeon, some of them you've had here for over 20 years, what happens to them? So how are you guys funded so that doesn't happen?
Well, we have multiple funding sources at this hatchery. Some of the funding for our paddlefish and sturgeon comes from the Army Corps of Engineers, who manages the Missouri River,
Okay.
and who, engineered the changes in the river that caused some issues for some of these species, and they put money back into mitigating those losses, and they help pay for things like this. We get a lot of appropriated general funds, so to speak, basically taxpayer dollars
Okay.
that are spent on fish and wildlife conservation.
But if that's not there and people aren't getting into fishing and aren't buying fishing licenses and aren't being educated, the future is pretty bleak for all of us.
Yeah, essentially, if America just stops caring about our fish and wildlife, if that is just lost, and there's concerns about that as our younger generations spend less and less time outside,
You betcha.
things like this, things like producing walleye or whatever it might be, they can go by the wayside. It's not a given. You know,
Right.
priorities can change, and if there's no one there to speak up for our fish and wildlife, you know, things can really go downhill.
It's kind of the mission of our show is to educate people like that. And I've often said that hunters and fishermen treat the fish like a resource because it is a resource to us, whether it's harvesting it for food or just harvesting the enjoyment of catching fish or whatever it might be. And once the value of that resource is gone to hunters and fishermen, no one has the value to spend the dollars that we do to keep them there. And that's been proven over time because that's where the funding comes from. And that's a scary thought. So if we don't get more fishermen, we're in big trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, you buy a fishing license, and that money goes to the particular state you're fishing in. That state can then turn and use that fishing license money to reach into a larger pool of money that's collected from the tax you pay on fishing gear, on boat gas, things like that, that comes from the federal government. And it magnifies the spending power for the state.
What's the biggest threat to this fish and paddlefish in the Missouri River chain?
The biggest threat to pallid sturgeon, it all comes down to habitat. This is a very specialized fish. Some fish are generalists, like a bluegill or a bass. They can live
anywhere.
About anywhere. But these are the opposite. They evolved in a big river system. They need basically a shallow, muddy river that is allowed to have some room to move from bank to bank, that floods once in a while.
Suck up some fish.
Gets low, yeah. And they're just not a species that has been able to evolve to deal with the modern Missouri.
Now, what about the paddlefish?
Paddlefish, much less so, face the same problems, particularly with the reservoirs on the Missouri. The Missouri River reservoirs, like we have in South Dakota and North Dakota, will grow some amazing giant paddlefish. But in the case of South Dakota's reservoirs, they really can't reproduce there. They need the big, long flowing river. So the paddlefish we produce at this hatchery, we stock into the reservoirs upstream of our facility, where the fish will grow very well. They may not be able to reproduce, but we've been able to create some excellent sport fishing opportunities doing that.
So people can then pay for the licenses to help the fishery and do more good than harm, and then maybe get one fish if they get pulled for a tag. But that one fish they catch, the dollars that they spent to get that tag does a lot more good than just one paddlefish.
That's right, and it goes to the larger picture of just keeping people engaged and
Keeps
giving
the value to the
Exactly.
fish itself. Now, for as far as sport fishing goes, bass and other species and things like that, what's the biggest threat in the Missouri River for those guys?
Well, the Missouri River is a walleye fishery.
Okay.
I mean, if you were to think about what the Dakotas
Are known
portion of the Missouri is, it's all about walleye.
Which is good eating.
Yes, and walleye tend to come and go based on weather conditions in a lot of cases. You get several years of good weather, the right kind of flows and things, you can have great walleye fishing. They've adapted very well to the reservoirs,
Okay.
in contrast to the sturgeon.
Right.
So the reservoirs are certainly not all bad. They've done some amazing things for sport fishing, walleye, northern pike, occasionally black crappie, smallmouth bass. They like that still water, the rocky shores you get with the Missouris. It's amazing for that type of fishing, and we're glad to be able to contribute walleye in particular to that fishery right here in South Dakota.
What's your thought on the invasives going on with the Asian carp deal?
Invasive species are a hot topic in South Dakota right now. We're a little behind other areas of the country, fortunately, when it comes to Asian carp and zebra mussels. But both of those have arrived right here in the Yankton, South Dakota area. Zebra mussels showed up about 5 years ago, little invasive mollusks from Europe.
I
And-
stepped on them and cut my foot pretty good.
Oh, they are sharp. They're a big problem. They're a huge, costly problem whether you fish or not because of the way they like to get in pipes, into infrastructure. Anything that draws water out of a zebra mussel lake is going to struggle with them getting into the pipes, clogging them up. We are extremely careful with zebra mussels at this hatchery because we use water from a zebra mussel lake, and we've found excellent ways to keep them out. But The key is slow the spread of all these species. It's extremely hard to ever get rid of them, and probably unlikely in the case of Asian carp or zebra mussels. So the best thing we can do is slow down their spread, stop it if we can. And a big part of that is just getting the word out about the negative effects of these things and how they're spread.
Well, thank you so much for showing us around and giving us that valuable information. Hopefully us fishing will be able to knock some of those guys out that are messing up everything. So,
All right, we appreciate everything you do to spread the word about conservation.
thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Greenway Outdoors. Check us out on NRM Streamcast, YouTube, Carbon TV, and everywhere podcasts can be found. Please submit all show ideas to thegreenwayoutdoors@gmail.com. See you next week. Stay green.